Hey, we're live. I got Ginny, Dave, and Aaron here, and we are talking about the worst password stories that we heard in 2021 and read about. I found an article on Dashline's website that handed out the worst password awards, and I read through them with Dave a little bit before we came online. And before I even dive into the stories, make sure you're on our newsletter so you get, like in today's newsletter, we did have an article about the best practices for passwords. So it's useful information. You can find it at our website under the news tab. So here are some of the stories. This one got the worst internship award. And it was when Solarwinds got hacked. And the problem with that one is it's a major IT firm used by everyone from top US government agents. So that was a really bad one. And to make it worse, Solarwinds blamed an intern for using this, I'm being sarcastic, totally secure password. Sol23. And that was leaked, and that's how they got in.
That was the second one they guessed, right?
Right? Probably.
Their second guess.
That's pretty bad. Oh my gosh.
Right. And we talked about this before we went on the air here, that I hope that if it's true that he was an intern, that he was in the accounting department or worked in the warehouse or whatever. And was not one of their.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But obviously, if that's true as well, if that was his password, they did not have strong password security protocols in place.
Right.
Right. Shame on them.
Right. Yeah. We do. I was saying to you before we came online that there's no way I could get away with that, because I would type it in and it would say your password isn't secure enough. Nope. You got to make it more secure. You can't change it to that. So Aaron's quiet down there. Okay, so the next award is most likely to win the lottery and lose the ticket. And this one was Bitcoin users who forgot their passwords. And the problem with that is that cost not only time, energy, user data, and company reputation, but here's a big number for you, $220 million. Yikes. So Post-its get lost. Built-in browser storage doesn't work everywhere. And, well, you shouldn't put the keys to your kingdom in your memory. So we talked about that last week. We talked about places to store your passwords, remember? And we did mention, browser storage, but that's not the most reliable. No peanut gallery comments on that one.
Well, if you absolutely need a password and you're on someone else's computer, you can log into your password manager and get all your passwords. But if it's not your browser, your cookies are gone and your password is not there.
That's true. And I have done this on public networks before when I could not remember my password and I was just trying to look something up, or I don't remember. I was actually in an airport. I had my VPN on and I was able to log in to my Google passwords, find the password, log back out, and then go use the public terminal or whatever. So that was all right. Okay, so this one is the most surprising award, it says. The hacker who tried to poison Florida's water supply, and local government services get this award. So I guess what happened is like two things. In California, there were state workers that fell for a phishing email that targeted at least 9,000 contacts. And this gave hackers access to, get this is scary, social security numbers and a whole bunch of other really sensitive information. But social security number, I was like, whoa, that's bad if somebody gets that. And then also in Florida, hackers gained remote access to the treatment plant's system and tried to poison the water. So they got the most surprising award.
Yeah, apparently they don't always want your money.
Apparently not. That's kind of crazy. I wonder what the goal was there, or what the intent was. Then the most avoidable one. This one award goes to a company called Verkada, which does enterprise security camera systems. And I found this one surprising because I was like, they hacked Elon Musk's cameras.
In his Tesla plant, right?
Yeah, on the factories and warehouses, as well as Equinox gyms, hospitals, jails, and schools. So they hacked the cameras. That's kind of crazy.
So do your updates.
Do your updates. Yeah, totally. And I believe this is the last one on my list. This one was the most predictable, and it's called Comb. And it's a group of cyber criminals who posted 3 billion stolen logins online. So that's kind of crazy. You had some advice as far as all these situations go, didn't you?
Basically, what I looked up is on cybernews.com, what methods, how do I crack your password, right? What does a bad guy do to get your password? Well, when they say they're cracking it, it's not someone sitting at a computer typing in a password, typing in, SolarWinds 1, SolarWinds 1, 2, 3, SolarWinds 1, 2, 3, whatever. Although that might be a bad example because they might have done just that. But what they can do is when you log into a computer with your username and password, it sends what's called a hash. Okay. And what a hash is, it's a combination of your username, your password, and a timestamp. And it's all jumbled up. It's encrypted. It's not in plain text or anything. And if someone has put malicious software like a keylogger on your computer, or they're intercepting your data somehow or another, have hacked your network, they're going to get this hash. And there's different ways of scrambling things, right? Encryption, there's different encryptions. And they'll throw all these different encryption tools at it, or decryption, I should say, to try and get plain text out of it, right? Intern 1, password, SolarWinds 1, 2, 3. And then they can go back in and get into your account without having to try all this. So, but they have to have breached your network at some level or intercepted data somehow. Again, social engineering is the biggest weakness we have, right? Hey, Aaron, this is Dave from DS Tech. Can you give me your password? Or click on this email link and type in your username and password to, we have to update your account information, blah, 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 whatever. Still, we're the weakest link. So that's one where they'll get you just because they've redirected you to their website and not your actual, bank website or whatever it might be.
Dave, I read an article while I was, browsing topics for this. And I remember reading this company just to see if they could get people's passwords, call people, and it was crazy. I don't know what the percentage was, but it was a big number of people that just gave them their password.
Yeah.
You just said, "What's your password?" And they're like, they just gave it to them.
There's been security companies have walked into companies, and the only thing they have is a coffee cup with that company's logo on it, and nobody challenges them. They've walked into server rooms. They've asked people, "Hey, I'm the IT guy. What is your password to get in here?" "Oh, whatever." So again, the weakest link, is people, is always people.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorites is when you visit a client site and you go into their IT closet or the room where they have their IT equipment and their sticky notes stuck to their monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Admin.
Yep.
And the password.
Oh boy.
The two other ones, which we've talked about a lot, is not using personal information. Is what they use, a dictionary attack and spidering. They're going to take your first name, last name, date of birth. They're going to find out your brother, your sister, your dog, your cat, your parents, your favorite sports team, your favorite game, your favorite whatever, and just start mashing these together, right? Aaron Dieter, and I won't say what his favorite football team is or baseball team is, but it's not the Tigers.
It's not the Cubs either.
Yeah. So, that's another thing they'll use, and that's why, we say don't use that information in the password, because, pretty much all that information is available on the website. Although if you'd have been in a huddle this morning, you'd think Aaron loves the Packers, but that's not true.
He just has a man crush on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Maybe he's got a really cool first name,
Right? That's true.
Yeah. So, they can eliminate or increase the odds of cracking a password if they have a lot of the more information they have about you, if you use that information in a password.
Right.
And there's a few other ones. Most of them involve, you have to have the ability to either be at that person's computer or have access to their, have attacked their network or intercept their data wirelessly or whatever it might be. So, but the last thing in this article is password cracking illegal?
I know. When you first said that, I was like, well, yeah, of course it is. That's what I thought. But then we think about it a little more, and it's kind of gray.
And you used the brick theory.
Yes, I did.
Or analogy, I should say.
A brick can be a tool. We could use it to build houses. We could use it to throw through somebody's window. We could use it to hit somebody over the head. So it could be a tool for
good
or a tool for really bad stuff. So right. A brick's a brick.
and password cracking is used in a lot of legal instances. Law enforcement can use it to find information about people. We use it as not particularly to crack passwords, but we talk about our Darkweb scan, to find out. And that's not really password cracking, but it kind of falls in the same category.
Right.
We're getting,
information,
passwords.
Yeah.
And you can use it, like we can use it on our network if everything else fails. Employee A quits in a huff or drops dead or God forbid, whatever, or retires, and 2 years later you need a password they used, and you can't get a hold of them.
That's funny, because we just ran into this the other day. We needed to get into a very old account with my old email. I've been here 23 years. So you think, I don't have that password anymore. So we had to reach out to Microsoft to help us with it. And, they'll be able to help us get in, but there you go. That's not illegal. We need to get in. We verified who we are, and they know who we are. So
yes, they do.
Wow. Good stuff. So speaking of dark web, I think some of our listeners might not know what a dark web scan is, Dave.
We have a service that scans the dark web and will look for passwords associated with an email account associated with your domain. Like it will go out and look for anything with dstech.net. in any email account that ends in @dstech.net that there's a password for sale on the dark web, it'll generate a report with all those when they were found in a certain amount of the password, not the whole password, but
Right.
the report doesn't show that for, I'm assuming, security purposes. But
I know when we've done it, what happened is Josh just reached out to me and said, "Hey, Ginny, your email came up with a password ending in blah, blah, blah."
Right.
So I was like,
123.
okay, well, I'm going to go look for anything that could possibly have that password and change it to something else.
Yeah.
But it turns out that was just a really old password that I don't use anymore. But
Right.
that's what it's for.
And we've talked about this more than a few times, that it could just be like, you're a member of a group, whatever it might be, and that group was attacked, and your credentials were stolen from them through no fault of your own. So you might have the greatest password in the world, 1,000 letters, characters, numbers, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not going to help if they get attacked and they store your password and someone steals it. So
yeah. So this is
one last. I wanted to say this before.
Here you go.
If a company like Solarwinds can be hacked, what hope does an 84-year-old computer user at home have?
Right? Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, it's about educating yourself on not being tricked. In that case,
Number one. Yep.
Well, in that case, that was just that was like I think I would give that the worst password award. Like the Jeff 123 one. So yeah. So since nobody shared their worst passwords, I'm going to give that the worst password award today. Unless you want to maybe 1111 or one of those that we mentioned before.
Or worse, no password.
Right? So I mentioned earlier to get on our newsletter. It's at dstech.net under news, and business owners get our free security assessment because we'll go over your network and look for holes. So thank you so much for sharing.
All righty. Next week,
VoIP. We're going to start talking about voice over IP, which is Aaron's favorite topic. So you'll be hearing a lot about phones over the next month or so. And today is the last one on passwords. So who knows? We might come back to it. We got a lot to talk about. So. All right.
Hey.
Thank you, guys. Make it a great day.